move on to our next issue, where the ruling All Progressives Congress is acting fast to ensure that the Ondo State chapter of the party is not engulfed in a post-primary election crisis ahead of November 16th governorship election in the state. The APC National Chairman, Abdullahi Ganduje, has invited all aspirants who took part in the just concluded governorship primary in the state for a parley. The aim is to pacify aggrieved aspirants to ensure a united front for the party in the coming election. Now, 5 of the aspirants, including Senator Jimoh Ibrahim, have filed petitions before the APC Appeals Committee. BKO, did you see this coming? Oh, well, we discussed this about some days ago about the Ondo governorship election.
With the way the contestants were complaining, you must have expected this. They were claiming that they are saying that they want the primaries cancelled because the exercise didn't hold in many of the 203 wards in the 18 local government areas of the state. When you are confronted with this situation, the people who feel cheated would not simply back down.
Right.
They want to do everything within their power to get justice. In this case, the governor has won the election, but as we know, the electoral processes in our country are never perfect. And politicians, they treat election as, if I relax for you, you are going to snooker me. So to ensure that I'm not snookered by you, I will take the steps that will give me an advantage. That is the thing. Politicians, this is the way they reason. And that's why some of us can't be politicians, because it's difficult for us to do some of these things. That I will simply go and hire thugs. Because the politician who has not got thugs is seen as a weak politician. What kind of life is that? All big politicians have their thugs.
But there isn't a way to sanitize this style of politicking, if I would use that.
It's getting worse in our country. If you look at the last election, especially the governorship elections, the violence, the level of violence was just terrible. People now, they exploit the rule book. The rule book says where voting is characterized by violence, you cancel the entire election. Now, politicians deliberately sponsor thuggery, sponsor violence in areas where their opponents are stronger. So they make sure that violence takes place so that that opponent does not return the kind of votes that will give him an advantage. So you've gone to his own stronghold to go and cause trouble, knowing that the law says the council election in that place. And the law does not say they should come back and do it. A council seat and that person has lost. So INEC has to find a way, by way of digression, has to find a way to deal with a situation in which Emeka sees that I'm stronger than him in a particular constituency, and he rolls out talks to go and deal with
destroys billboards and all those things.
They grab ballot boxes. At the end of the day, I don't have any vote coming from my stronghold. And he will get votes from his own stronghold because I have not responded in kind. So it's a problem. I'm saying that even as we go on, decades into our democratic journey, politicians are still refusing to play the game by its rules. They are deliberately contriving situations that will give them unfair advantage over fellow contestants. That happens. If people can't find enough voting materials or insufficient voting materials, ballot materials are sent to a place, you've disenfranchised people now. Or you bring ballot materials so late. You've discouraged some people from voting, because if they lined up waiting for these people to come and they don't come, some will in anger go back home. We saw where, even in 2019 election, they were voting up till 10:30, 11 p.m. So this idea of, okay, electoral materials not getting to some place, it has to be investigated, because it inexorably will have robbed some candidates of the chance to win. I'm not saying these people could have defeated the governor. I didn't expect anybody to defeat the governor. You know, Jimoh Ibrahim can make a lot of noise, but I knew he would be defeated. He was not even in the top 4. The other woman, Omogoroye, she is one of those protesting now. But I didn't.
In fact, a handful of them are protesting. They're even demanding that the elections be cancelled and new elections be reconducted. Do you see this happening? Do you think perhaps
the entire exercise reconducted? No, they won't do that. They won't do this. It's easy to predict. To do a fresh exercise, APC. No, they won't. They won't do a fresh exercise. Maybe some places they can do. That is if they like. But if they think also that it will not affect the outcome, they won't bother. They won't bother. It happened in Kogi State now. There were some places where the initial prognosis was that they would do a fresh election. But when they saw that it would not alter the outcome, they changed their minds. They just decided not to do. So, I don't see them doing a fresh exercise. At worst, they will appeal to these candidates. Mr. President to be prevailed upon to call them, give them assurances, promise some of them appointments here and there, beg them to work for the incumbent, and they will be told, look, this incumbent has only 4 years. He's not going to get a second term.
Yes.
He has only 4 years.
Yes,
work with him. 4 years is not a long time. So they will beg them, the final analysis, to work for the party. Some may not agree, some may do anti-party. They beg them, they will agree. You see them agree, but they will still go and do anti-party.
So, you may even collect some benefits.
Senator, what's your position on this, and how do you think the APC can unite all of these aggrieved members?
Oh, well, the APC, I think, ought to have learned from previous experiences. Look at how it bungled the Anambra primary election. You know, look at what happened in Ondo State, where it almost bungled the governorship primary. You know, I think the party needs to make up its mind about some of these things, you know, so that you don't find a situation where people have strong evidence that they have been cheated. There were cases of destruction of billboards, violence, thugs attacking people. I mean, I think our politics needs to go beyond all these petty things. Because the governor himself has been accused. He's been accused. And it will be very unfortunate if it is true. Because like what some political pundits are saying is that of all the aspirants, you know, of all those who contested, they had the brightest chance. So there wasn't really so much to prove. There wasn't really so much to prove that thugs had to go attacking people, beating people up, you know, destroying ballot boxes and all of that. There was no need for. I think Nigerian politicians sometimes they overstretch themselves. When you should appeal to the people, appeal to your opponent, try to woo people, you know, you now resort to strong arm tactics. I'm just saying if it is true, it will be a big disappointment. But I think APC needs to really put its act in order. Because remember that of Anambra, it was the court that later nullified that said that Andy, by the way, should not even have participated in the governorship election in the first place. And that was a narrow one. What if he was declared winner of the governorship election? What could have, you can imagine what could have happened. So, looking at that and then casting their minds back to what happened in Rivers, was it Rivers in 2019, in Zamfara. This thing should teach them a lesson.
Yes.
Because it was
2023.
Yes, it was their own people who did them in. It wasn't even members of other political parties that did them in. So they should just...
The Marafas of this world.
Yes. Tested politicians who know how to upset the apple cart. So the APC...
You know, they don't forgive themselves.
They don't, no.
When you feel that you've been cheated, because the then governor claimed that there was a consensus. And what the law says is, before you can indeed, before consensus can be accepted, not one of the principal actors must go against it. You know, so if you had 10 aspirants and 2 do not agree to some consensus, that is the end. That's what happened in their case. Some agreed, some didn't agree. The ones who didn't agree went to court. But you claim that it was consensus. They proved that there was no consensus. And then the leadership of the party at national level was also an interested party. They too generated their own list. Zamfara in 2019 was a basket case. They generated their own list. And then the Yari was fighting Oshomole over the thing and threatening him. If you come here, both of us will end up in burial ground. You know?
Yeah,
so in the end, the facts to nullify the whole exercise were there for the judges to look at.
Right. So the party indeed, in the end, has to stand as a united front to, address its issues internally. But that's where we have to